Hello, 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 and welcome to the Italian Ikozuki stream. My name is Katie, and we are going into the chaotic creativity that is show prep. Yay, we're here. So obviously I have moved my camera around a little bit. I was like, I want a better desk view, and here we are. We have a better desk view. So what we're doing today is we are going to go in and we are basically cutting down the exteriors of the bags as well as the interiors and the canvas, just so everything matches up and we're good to go. And all that good jazz. Whatever is not complete by the end of tonight does not make the cut. Just because otherwise we don't have enough time for this nonsense otherwise. I just realized that these roosters are almost done, but I have not cut webbing for them. We are not going, oh, we did. I did cut webbing for them. Okay, sweet. So then we're just ignore that side rant that I just went on. Okay, so what we're doing is we're going to trim down all of the interiors so that they match up with the bags that they're supposed to be making, and then we are trimming and wedging the interiors and trimming them down as well, and then we are doing that to the canvas too. And this is just because as I cut the other night I noticed that things got a little bit sideways, so we're just cleaning it up so that when I'm actually sewing, that's like this is way too wide. I can already tell you that. I don't even have to measure it. Yeah, it's an inch wider than it needs to be. So that's the sort of thing that we'll cut down. And then typically I do actually wedge all of my bags at my sewing machine, but I was realizing that if I just did it at the cutting table before I started sewing, we could just, novel idea, just sew instead of having to do all this like finagling while I'm at the table. So here we are. Basically what I've done is I've split up all the different colors so that we are set to just roll along once we do actually pull these out for sewing, and we're hoping for the best. We're hoping that I am at a point now that this is organized enough and going to stay organized enough in this pile over here that I'm not sitting at the sewing table looking at the camera dumbly being like, what does this go with? Hopes and dreams. Guys, it is whatever. The kids had I'm late today because the kids had a field trip. Not like I need like a reason to be late half the time. But yeah, they had a field trip today, but it was a really good field trip for them. I really like going on these to see how they interact with their school. And just like in general, just to check in basically to make sure that I know they're watching it and they'll let me know if there's any issues. But it's also good to just observe them. And yeah, they know that mom's there, but whatever. It's all good. Okay, so we are trimming down here. And then we're going to trim down on this side. And then these look like they might be a bit tall. So if they are, I'm going to trim down the top a little tick. Just because then it's, sweet, there we go. Because then it's also a little bit easier to sew into the backs. Again, this is all in the name of making the sewing process this week easier because we do not have a lot of time. I have not left myself enough time, blah, blah, blah. So, we're going to prep as much as we can so we can just go. The one area I am concerned about is I need to actually cut leather and brand the leather tags with the branding iron that I have. So that is likely something that is going to end up actually I'll probably do the leather tomorrow. No, tomorrow I gotta do taxes. Gotta finish taxes tomorrow as best I can. And then, but I was just thinking, I'm like, if it's warm enough, we're gonna go outside, and then I can always what I was thinking is I could spread the leather out on the grass outside and actually trim it down in the grass outside, which would be even easier than doing it in this room. So we might still do that. I think that's probably what will happen. I did treat myself and actually cut myself a new wedge boxing template for these bags last night. Quite happy with that. Yeah. So if this is your first time wandering into the stream or you're watching this video later, I make project bags from Japanese fabrics that I source in Japan. Now I typically go to Tokyo and Kyoto and purchase my fabrics there. And I was actually looking at bead stores for the next time I go back because I really want to make some of those wire stitch markers from Japanese beads as well. Because why not? I'm already there. They do not add a lot of weight or take up a lot of space. So just wait. Caroline from H&H Yarns. We work together a lot, and we've done TNA in the past. And she's going down to H&H in Chicago. And I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's like it's a TNA replacement, so it's going to be mostly the needlework community and all that. But she very gently reminded me today that H&H is far more than that, and it's like fabric suppliers and all of this. And now I'm really jealous. Because it's like they're going to have a sample at night, and there's going to be fabric suppliers. Because TNA was like the Needleworker Association one, and they did not have like... Well, I don't remember there being fabric and stuff like that. It was all geared towards stores and stuff like that. So I'm just like, oh man. So I gotta take, because I haven't even looked at the vendor list because I'm like, whatever. Now I need to look at the vendor list and like tell her who she needs to go visit for me, please. Because that would actually take out one of the steps that I need to do here, in that I need to go visit some of my suppliers and like visit the garment or the fabric district in like Toronto and Montreal. So, but if I went to H&H, that would also give me the like it would put me into contact with US distributors as well. Now the exchange rates suck, but you know, whatever. Do what you gotta do, right? So okay, so parasols is the smallest cut on this pile, so we'll cut based on that. We're going to line it up with the easy to do math from line. It also needs to be squared up just a tick. I have made this easy for myself today in the fact that I'm basically just going in and since they're all sorted, we're just going to start going through the pile. Alright, now are these... No. Okay, so they're just going to need... I can cut those down, though I now know the measurement to use. So there's been a little girl that my eldest has been talking about wanting to have a play date with from preschool for a while now. And so I finally saw the mom when I was there, because they were like, that's them. And got their number so that we could actually arrange something. Now, I have never navigated play dates, obviously. No kids before this point, blah, blah, blah. But she is very enthusiastic about it, and I appreciate that. Which is also like, because she was instantly like, you should come over to our house, and we have a trampoline, and like all of this. And I'm like, I was thinking that we would meet at a like playground or something, so that there was less pressure on both of us. Because she's like got a 9 month old as well, so I was like, it doesn't need to be anything that intense. I'm fine. Actually, I would feel more comfortable probably with going to a playground. But I was just like, I don't mean to step on anyone's toes, but you don't mind if I come at least for the first few times so that she's comfortable, right? Because I'm like, I don't want to just ditch my child with someone that I don't even know. It just feels weird. Because she was instantly like, you could do a date night or something. And I'm like, no, I don't need anything that intense. I just want to get them together to play because I think that's important. And my eldest keeps bringing it up, so. Alright. Although recently they have not been bringing them up. It's been like a completely different friend. So I hope that that is still something that they want. But they've also been there's been a flux recently. So their favorite colors have changed and like a bunch of other things. So, who knows? It'll be fine. All right, so those are those 3 with the bright blue. So this needs to match up with the width of the bags. These are the drawstring channels. Do that. Just straighten it out. And then typically what I do is I cut it not right to the width of the bags, but like I'm going to do like 3/4 of an inch smaller, just because then the folds match up correctly, or they like, if they're kind of, yeah, whatever. When I do the drawstrings, they have to be folded under, and that just makes it a little bit easier to make sure that they're not taking up, or they're taking up the correct space on the top of the bag. Let's go with that. I don't actually know what I'm talking about right now. Katie, you have 12 years of sewing experience. Yeah, and there's like a learning curve, and then there's like a learning curve as this like production level also goes up too. So like, if you've been listening to me ramble on about how it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this and this and this and this and then this, it's because these bags fight me for what, like, yeah. I'm actually quite excited to go to the black canvas, because realistically all I need to do for the black canvas is just like, oh, no, and see, those ones aren't matched up. They should have been, but they're not. Anyway, yeah, because I'll just be able to like cut all the black canvas, and it, like, I don't have to do this split up of stuff and the split up over here and blah 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 blah. I'm excited for it. Okay, so what I am doing is I am matching up the drawstrings with the pockets that I have chosen for them, because to me that makes sense. And then we are going to sew, and this is where the like the plotting has thickened in the last couple days, as I realized that I can sew the drawstring channels on the ends, and then I can base and sew the pockets at the same time, so the pockets stay with the bag. And then I will go in and we will do, I am the sewist. I may not know the rules and I may not know what I'm talking about, but I am the sewist. And we will, I will go in and, oh, it's gone. Whatever. I think it'll work when I'm actually sitting at the table. That's all that matters. As long as it works when I need it to work, really, it doesn't matter otherwise. Okay. Anyway, what I was going to do is I will sew the drawstring channels and the pockets together, because they're all cut in half right now, so they have to be folded in half and sewn. And then I will go in and I'm going to do the next thing. Oh yeah, baste the drawstrings together and top stitch the pockets. Now this is only going to work with white thread because reasons, basically. Yeah, but that'll keep like the lining and the pockets, or at least that'll keep the drawstrings and the pockets together. And then the lining should be stacked up in such a way that what we'll do after that is we'll sew, yeah, and then we'll sew the interiors. Oh, right, and then that's what I was going to do, is sew the interior, like the pocket, at least they're like holding seam on the bottom into the bag. And then we can sew the exterior of the bag to the canvas, and then everyone should be happy. It should all like just work. And these bags just have a lot of moving parts, so when they go into a production run like this, keeping track of the parts is kind of brutal. Because otherwise I do end up saying out there, and if you've watched the live streams or you've gone back and seen some of the past ones for the Kato bags, it's like, what does this go with? What did I mean for this? Blah, 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 blah. And I want to avoid that. Nani, 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 nani. I love the fact that blah, blah, blah in Japanese is like, what? I say this every time I come on stream, but I regret not getting a coffee with lunch. I had a very adult, very delicious peanut butter and jelly sandwich before I came downstairs. But I could have used a coffee. Okay, which one was, oh right, the parasols are clearly black. So, koi and wisteria. I don't think I was clipping these together last night, but whatever. I don't want to live quite that dangerously with all of them. Okay, and then rabbits. We're going to get the gray as well. There. Okay, so there is all the white lining with marble. And so basically putting them in the pile like that means that any of those will work with those fabrics, and that's what I intended, rather than constantly having to question it. That, at least, is what I am anticipating. We'll see if that's actually what goes into practice, because who knows? And obviously nothing is completely set in stone. Okay, it is the fold, not... I was like, why would I cut these? But no, it's the fold. We're fine. No need to panic. Alright, so this one is actually already prepped, which is awesome. The next one is actually already prepped as well. So this is going to be an easy-ish round. Well, at least the exteriors are prepped. The rest of them, I am SOL. I need to finish the cuts. But this does speed it up a little bit. And if you're like, Katie, why didn't you do this before? Because I was running out of time on doing all the other things too. Where's your canvas? Where's your canvas? That should have a black canvas. Where did it go? Okay, well, I'm going to pull the black canvas from, because there's a duplicate set over here, so I'm going to pull the black canvas from one of them, because, why not? Okay. I know what you know. Okay, but there's its lining. Okay, so I'm going to pop the canvas on the laptop. I'm going to fold these. This is definitely far too wide. And that is not even in the least. There we go. Anyway, yeah, I feel like I don't want to like use play dates as like a dumping ground for my child either. And I definitely want to just, I don't know, it's probably being a bit overprotective, but I don't think you can be too overprotective of your kids. So it's like, I just want to make sure that nothing really pings my radar for like, I don't know, just weird. Just weird. That's all. I'm just feeling a little bit like... One of my big things is like I am always trying to navigate, of course, what my parental things were. And like, as much as I am no contact with my parents, I do not agree with a lot of what they did or how they broke their generational trauma. Because my mom's made improvements compared to what her parents did and all of that, at least her dad. But obviously it was not in a way that was like nurturing for me necessarily. I think that's the best way to put it. It got to me instead. But that doesn't mean that everything she did was wrong either. So it's like navigating that and like, what do I want to pick up and put down of how I was raised as well. And I do think some parental supervision, at least for the first little bit, for like play dates, especially at the age that they're at, is not the worst thing, really. And if they get offended by that, then, well, we'll go meet at the park when we have an opportunity. I think that's part of it, too. It's nothing against you. You're a stranger to me, too, so we're just going to make sure. And I know statistically as well, it's people that you know better that something is going to happen with. But you know what? I'm not going to feel guilty for this. Protecting the kiddos. Although I am excited that we can set up a play date at the same time. So, cautious but optimistic, I guess. I'm like, whoa. Something popped up on my screen, but it was an email notification. It's like, I'm not used to having that show up. Usually the computer doesn't do that. All right. Math. Over this way. Trim you down. Right there. Right there. There we go. Okay. And the budgies are the only ones that need a drawstring cut. I'm going to... Actually, I'm just going to square up that top there a little bit. And then... go. Trim the budgies down. Alright, well, we're almost through the kind of like random ones. Not like they don't match and everything like that, but it's like the ones that are, I guess not random necessarily. Okay, so that lining is a little bit smaller. Okay. Take that into account when I'm trimming. Actually, yeah, it'll take it into account when I'm trimming the wedge anyway. And then we'll do the canvas. What time is it? It's almost 1 already. Holy, okay. So yeah, the library field trip was really good, but it did suck up a lot of the day. And it was like in that awkward place where it's like by the time I got home, I was going to go to the gym and go for my run and do all the things that I usually skip in the morning because I was like, hey, this is the perfect opportunity. And then it wasn't. It was just like, yeah, I got home, I showered, which also necessary. And I did the dishes. Yay. Oh, and then I had a second cup of coffee in the quiet, that was glorious. But, yeah, nothing really happened this morning besides chores. So, I'm going to go for my run with the children after I pick them up from school. It's 3 miles, so it's about 5K. Or I will go 5K. So it's not that bad. It's about 45 minutes usually at my speed. So yeah, whatever. They can deal. It'll be good for them too. Actually, what I'll probably do is I'm going to take pizza pops basically. And then we're going to do cheap pizza pops. And I'm going to swap them into a diaper and jammies. And hopefully they just fall asleep. They fell asleep on the Jeep on the way home yesterday from IKEA and all that. Yes, actually, Market Mall, I guess. If you're looking for any of the bags at Market, they have been restocked at Market Spot. Just as a friendly reminder, if you're in the Calgary area, my products are carried at both Market Spot and Market Spot at Market Mall and that other place. Goodness gracious. Ancient Arts Yarns. That other place. Katie. Yeah. And Ancient Arts has yarns, and Market Spot has a bunch of other artisan goods. So worth checking out. Also, the other cool thing is I kept looking at one of the women there, and I'm like, I am sure I've met you before. And she had mentioned that she worked with the university theaters and everything yesterday. And I was like, did you work, when did you work at the university theaters? And it turns out that we were both there at the exact same time, pretty much, which is actually super cool. So, yay for small world connections. Absolutely insane. square this up on this side. And then after Peace Fibre Festival, I am going to actually give them some stock of the Kato with webbing straps attached. So if you want to see them in person and you're unable to make any of the other events this summer or want one before the other events, there'll be a selection available there of them as well. Okay, so we're going to go in. There are far too many here for me to actually cut all at once, so we're just going to actually split the pile proactively and do 4 and 4 layers of canvas. Otherwise my shears will make everything buckle. It doesn't work. Wish there was a way to do this with a rotary cutter, but the rotary cutter just pushes everything around, and it's actually not really good for this sort of cut because it's really easy to overcut with them. You can overcut with the shears too, obviously, but it is harder. So, all right. Zoom. Zip. And actually I may or may not run outside, I just realized, because it depends on if this wind drops off or not, but it's like, because it is bitter. Probably should have just gone for my run before I came downstairs, but live and learn, because it's actually really hard to run once the kiddos are home. Oh well, we'll deal with it. I'll put on a windbreaker. They'll get a stroller blanket. All will be well. I feel like I'm behind, but part of that actually is that I am a little bit behind because, well, first off, we didn't do anything yesterday morning. I didn't do anything. Usually Thursday is a little bit of a reset day, and I like do dishes and tidy up and all of that. But we went into the city instead, which always shifts what happens. And so yesterday morning we all needed a morning, I think, anyway, so all right, now we're just going to go in and we will match these up with what they're supposed to go with over here. At least what my best guesses are, because right now I'm like, oh, this is definitely budgies because there is no drawstring there yet. Okay, we're going to trim down the length and then we'll trim down the width. That's what I decide on the other one, 3/4 of an inch smaller. So that's it there. So minus 3/4 of an inch is there. So that's that line there. Sweet. And if you're like, Katie, why don't you leave it folded up? Because I want this big chunk. Because I'm thinking those big chunks will be good for starting places for those other things like book sleeves and coasters and all of that. And then just a little bit of like a log cabin built around that. Alright, so this one is large enough to do the first cut here. And then the second cut here. And then we'll have a strip left over. Sweet. So that probably can go into the bin for my friend, but you know, it can happen later. Okay, and then the budgies were the ones with the gray because they're outlined in like a gray. There's no like harsh, super black lines in them. And then these other two are black. Canvas bottoms. Okay. So there we are. Set up for another 4 bags. I don't even know how many we've prepped so far. Probably not that many. Probably far less than I anticipate and more than I expect. Okay, next set. 105. Alrighty, so we've got the crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, all right. I thought that there was more up here, but oh, that's because the other white and blue are hidden. There is one more white and blue down here. All right. I don't know how I missed that one, but all right. It's better to catch it now. So it's on this end of the pile where the rest of them are anyway. Okay, so let's do... I'm not going to do this one individually. I will go in and actually trim it up. These other ones, but I'll prep it this way. And then we'll throw it underneath here. So it's rolling along. Okay. Actually, never mind. Let's just do this one individually because everything can just get cut down at the same time then. And it should match. Matchy match. Ding. Okay. Square that up here a little bit. Sweet. All right. Then I'm going to square it up here before we do the body halving. Go. Right? Yes, because we're going to square it up there as well. And that goes there. And then this comes out like this, and it goes zip, like that. And then we're going to do a square up on this side too. On that inch line right there. There we go. That has to be dealt with afterwards. And then we're going to flip this. Line those edges up there, in there, in there. And then we're going to do the squaring up right here. There we go. This is going to make an absolutely glorious Kato here. I am ecstatic. Very excited for it. This aqua bunny fabric. I really, really, really like the navy version of it, but this like aqua is just absolutely spectacular. Okay, we'll deal with that in a minute. And then this needs to be trimmed down and wedged, and so we can actually do the canvas and the quilt lining at the lining at the same time. It's like, what is so bright red on that the piece of fabric back there? And then I remembered that that's where I wiped the webbing goo from the heat knife. All's well. It's just a very bright red. I am nearly done a conjuring. That sounds better, more natural. Of Light by V.E. Schwab. Highly recommend it. If you've been listening to the live stream and you heard me say that it was not explicit, there is on page Steam. Still not super explicit compared to most of the spicy stuff I read. Very vanilla. But it is still there. Now, I would still say that this is not a like young child book anyway, just because of the themes it deals with before this point. But, you know, if you're personally not into that with your adult books, or you're like, oh, it's a good teen book, just a heads up. It is not Katie Robert level of spice, though, either, if that's what you're expecting. So, go. 1 and 2. Sweet. All right. Now we need to trim down the drawstring channel here. And then, right, Trim down the length and then trim down the width, Katie. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so we need to go down to that, to here. That is the measurement, that is the measurement. Like that. And since it's just one, we're just going to fold this over and I will cut it down. Yeah, that works. Okay. This is like it disappeared over the edge because everything's unfolded a bit. All right. Like that. Like this. There is that. Like that. Next bags. All right, now we're going to work on the beige blue pockets. So basically, that code, if you're thinking of it in code, is the lining color and then the pocket color. So beige, blue. And so what we just cut was the white, blue pockets. So that's how these are organized, is they're organized via basically their lining and then their pocket color. Those are the two that normally trip me up the hardest as well. Canvas is usually pretty hard or pretty easy to figure out. Lots of the times these are pretty easy too, but it's like, did I mean this to be white or did I mean this to be beige? And part of that is also because like we are out of fabrics. So everything that I would have previously done in white may or may not be in white. And there may be a little bit more of a swing towards like the beige lining fabric than normally I would have done. Like normally with this one, I would have lined it with white. But we have beige, and the beige will look fine too. So, again, I would prefer to have it done than having it sit around really. But just small things like that. Small things. Supply runouts. And of course, it's always, all the supplies run out at the same time. So it's always like these massive bills right around before shows. That's the most annoying part. It's like, if you could just wait to run out after a show, that would be amazing. But no, they don't like to cooperate that way. Cat problems, remember? And realistically, I could have placed my supply order earlier, but I did want to pause and wait until I'd done all the cutting as well, because then I can make one giant order for everything instead of, and like only having to pay the initial fee for shipping once instead of having to pay like the initial fee for shipping 3 times. And what I mean by that is like, yes, the cost of the shipping will go up the more you add to it. But the benefit is that, so if it's $50 to ship 3 bolts across Canada, and that is like, that's basically, it's a base fee, but to ship 6 bolts, it's $75. I am saving the $25 to ship 6 bolts instead of doing 2 shipments of 3 bolts. At least that's how I like to think about it. I know my supplier in Winnipeg, it's like we can get 4 to 5 bolts in a box. And that was whatever the fee was, like $100. And then it did go up exponentially from there because that was the size of their box. That is the size of their boxes. They're still around. And if you went over that, then you had to pay basically like 2 boxes. The people I use out of Montreal just seem to wrap it in plastic and wish it on its way. So, hasn't gone wrong yet, so I'll take it. Okay, now, these are all angry at the top. So we are going to have to, I'm going to have to square up the top. If you hear me referring to it as we, I am the sewist. It is just me, myself, and I, and occasionally the cats. Take that as like the royal we, or if you would like to feel included on the live stream, the we as in us and the viewers, me and the viewers, however you want to take it. But I just keep using we, and I'm like, every time it's like, no, this is just me. There is no one else that does any of this work. Well, okay, that's a lie. I sometimes bribe my friend with food, and she'll come out and help me. Food and scraps. That sounds terrible. Not food scraps. Food and fabric scraps. She's the one that does the amigurumi, so she'll sometimes come out and help, like, do just turning. She turned a lot of the handles for the large box bags for me last year, which was absolutely amazing of her. She's the best. And if you were at Knit City 2 years ago, she was actually the one at Knit City with me. Because we decided very last minute that Dallas should stay home because he just had LASIK eye surgery, so we didn't know how well he was going to see. And like, if you're recovering from surgery, even, I was going to say less invasive. It's not as invasive as like a hernia surgery. I guess that would be the better description. But like, it's still invasive surgery to have your eyes worked on. Yeah, we didn't know how well he was going to be able to see, and then like taking care of toddlers in a hotel, not knowing what to do and everything like that. It just sounded like a bad time all around for everyone. So we decided last minute that I should try. Like, he would come if I could get no one. But Tara was able to come out with me instead, so it worked out. That was one hell of a trip, though, because it was, so they've been working on the Trans-Canada for a very long time. I don't know if it's like what it's like across the country, but it feels like this work on the Trans-Canada just never ends. There's always a section under construction, which, given the length of it, makes sense. But the joke I always make about this one is that they're basically going to finish the construction, and then we're going to head into more construction because they're going to have to repave some of the older parts that they've already done more recently. So anyway, this is like, they're basically cantilevering the highway out over this like gorge. They've already done a lot of work to make it safer, but it's like there is a patch in there that is horrendous, and it's the Trans-Canada, so it's like one of our main corridors for economic goods, especially heading to and from the coast in Vancouver. So Pacific goods, blah blah blah. Anyway, this was part of the like whole deal of like, we're going to get the 2010 Olympics, and so they did the big blast through the Kicking Horse Canyon, and they've been working on getting it like finished since, because basically the goal is eventually to have the Trans-Canada dual laned through the whole country. This is one of the sections that has not been dual laned, and it did have a portion of it that was just, it was scary every time to drive through it. And like, I don't get super twigged out by mountain roads, but that one portion of it's really bad. But to be able to do a lot of this construction, they've been closing down the highway on like the off season, basically. The other highway that you take is not set up to be a national corridor by any stretch of the imagination. And of course, when we drove out to Vancouver for this Knit City with my friend, it was open on the way out, and then it closed over the weekend, so we had to do the whole detour through Radium. Absolutely spectacular drive. Absolutely nail-biting because of all the like big trucks on the road and everything like that. It was not fun. Also adds so much time. Like, realistically, it is only an hour out of the way, but it just with the like increase in traffic and stuff like that, it is always just adds so much time. So she's like, if I ever come out to help you again, I'm just flying. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. But hey, now she's driven it, so. Okay. Now we're going to do 1, 2 black. Ooh, I need to get my little desk vacuum out here. Okay, so there's 6. So we'll do a split of 6 and a split of 4. I'll get these marked. That means this was another 5 bags. So we're cranking along pretty good. The interfacing is going to slow us up because it's like, it's going to need to be cut and adhered. And the goal is right now, or the stopping point right now, is that anything that is not cut and adhered by Monday is not making the cut for piece. There's going to be so many bags that don't make the cut, even that are beyond that point, that like that was the decision I made last night, because there's no point in working past and then not getting anything done. Like, even at this point, I probably should call it and be like, okay, we're going to just start interfacing. I could. There's plenty of Kato here. But we're going to persevere. Let's see what we can get done today. I would think... Yeah, I think we're at the point where we will get done what we can today. And we're going to move to interfacing on the live stream tomorrow. Because I won't live stream when the kids are home anyway. That'll be like once they go to bed. So I will work on interfacing tomorrow and Sunday. That does not leave me a lot of time. I need like 6 dozen hands, I think. Now, on the flip side of this, thank you for keeping my stock this tight. I very much appreciate it. Last year stretched us a little bit, so we're working on some catch up, and Nekozuki doing as well as it is has been a relief. I'm sure most people know there are just some years where it's just like, no matter what you do, you just doesn't work. And last year was one of those years. It was a high spend year at the beginning, and then the cat had like the emergency vet visit, and just kind of devolved from there. And now this year, I need to do some repairs on the Jeep. It's got like a pinhole leak in the radiator. Has been fine over the winter, but actually it needs to go in for its oil change. So I should get it checked out again anyway. They said that they were going to be surprised if it lasted through summer. So I'm like, all right, well, I haven't seen any like great big explosion of radiator fluid on the ground, so that's good. I did see some like pin dotting this year, so I think it's probably time, but we will skate that out as long as we can. Lovely, there was a piece of lining that we haven't. Turtles. Turtles. And this is the navy version of that Bunnies with Sakura, and it's still like, it's such a good colorway. And then there's like swirls in the background, and I always take it actually as, just looking at it, take it as like swirls in like water, but it could be like mist or like kind of a smoke swirl or whatever you want it to be honest. So okay, so we're going to square up here. So we're going to move it there. And there, and now it's nice and even there. Okay, sweet. Then it comes to here, and then it comes to there, and then it goes to that. Sweet, those can be cut just in half. Awesome. So this edge is a little bit not straight. It isn't straight. It's not that it's just not straight, it just isn't straight. Blech. Okay. Rotary cutter. Zip. Into the bag. And then, so that is this plus that. Alright, there we go. Trim these down in preparation for interfacing. Oh, it's such a good print. In like isolation, it looks so good. It's gonna look absolutely spectacular with the canvas on the bottom too. I don't know why I put the turtle fold the other direction out of all of them, but apparently I did. Not that it's a big deal. It's not like a super directional print. It's just annoying for me to cut. Cat problems. Dry food, I want wet food. Not dry food, wet food. If you heard me refer to cat problems, they are complaints that have like no bearing on anything in the wider world. I like it better than first world problems. Although that's kind of the gist of it. But they're totally cat problems. 100%. These are issues that a cat would have. House cat. In a good home. Because obviously there are varying degrees of that too. But whatever. Cat problems. What I'm actually referring to specifically is there's a picture book. And I'm sorry if you've been watching the past few days and you've heard this like a dozen times already. But whatever. I'm going to assume most people are new viewers because that seems to be the draw. But it's a picture book by Jory John. Don't get penguin problems. Penguin problems was a total existential crisis. It was actually... I will not read penguin problems again. But cat problems is about a house cat in the house. And it's just super whiny. And if you hear me occasionally take on the nasally tone, it's because, for whatever reason, that's the tone of voice that this cat had, was a very nasally, complaining tone. He had cat problems. And the main one was, I wanted, dry food, I want wet food. Not dry food, wet food. So that's the kind of cat problem. Most of the time when I'm complaining and bitching and moaning about just stuff to keep talking, it's cat problems. Occasionally it's legitimate. The interfacing being swapped out a few weeks ago when I bought the new roll, those were legitimate complaints. Complaining because I personally didn't cut down the bags, like the fabrics yet for the bags. Total cat problems, especially self-created problems. If I'd just done this work earlier, I wouldn't have to do it now. But it's like, yeah, the argument against that is the fact that if I had done this work now, I wouldn't have had anything for shindig. So win some, lose some. And now we have a lot of large box bags for peace, and we had them for shindig, and we had them for the ancient arts yard pop-up. So I'll take that. Alright, so now we are going to pair up everything with their setups over here. We have that last beige to cut down to go with this set. And then we have the next round, which are beige and confetti pockets. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. Now, and for all my careful planning and like finagling and guessing, we are still short a couple flippin' canvas bottoms. I'm like, how. I did. Apparently some days I needed more coffee than I anticipated. I don't know. It's weird. I don't like it. I did, if you were watching a couple days ago, I did get more D-rings yesterday. Thankfully, my supplier in Calgary still had the black matte D-rings. Made it super easy to just snag them. And that filled in the gaps. Now, it would have been a really easy way to pare down what we're going to sew, but the thing is that a lot of the ones that I really want... Oh, that's not it. What does pink? What? Oh, the strawberries are pink. Okay. And then, and then the bright blue is the crochet flowers. This is what I mean. So I have decided that the last thing we're going to do for these bags in future is the webbing. Because then the webbing can just be pinned. That's probably why I ended up doing it at the sewing desk so often. Is just like, okay, last thing. Although now the last thing at the sewing desk will be the leather. Joke's on Katie. Current Katie is not thanking past Katie for her lack of work. Not lack of work. Efficiency. All this work would have had to happen. Like I said, if I had done it before Shindig, I wouldn't have had any large box bags for Shindig or the pop-up or piece. Like if we just continued cutting stuff, there was nothing. And at this point, we're even down to basically, what I would qualify as nothing for small box bags, because I think I have like 5 in stock right now. So when we get back from Peace, that's the next thing that has to go. Like, it has to go, and I have to get it sewing. So I do get the fun job of definitely getting a supply order in, and then it should be here actually. Actually, if I got a supply order in today, it'd probably be here by the Monday or Tuesday, and that's when we would actually start on the small box bags. Post Peace is like Wednesday. Because what would that be? That would be like, so we're 9 days out from Peace. 8 days until we leave for Peace. And then, but that is 2, so 6 business days. A couple days to pack it. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'll make my order. I'm not making my order today. I'll make my order tomorrow. Because realistically, it isn't going to get packed to get shipped out today. I'm like pretty positive of that, at least. And I wouldn't expect that. So, especially because if it's already 1:30 here, my goodness, how is it already? I have lost a lot of this day. That's annoying. Anyway, 1:30 here. That's 3:30. Yeah, there's no way. Like, I would have had to place it this morning if I had any chance of getting it shipped out today. So I'll do a calm assessment tomorrow instead of frantic, like, oh my God, get the order in right now. I think that's fair. Alrighty. There is all of those cut and matched and trimmed and ready. Okay, beige and confetti. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because 6. Because 2, 2, and 2. And then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. What are you supposed to be paired with that you are not paired with right now? This one. 4, 5, and 6. And then there'll be 3 more after that. Sweet. So we've got 15 bags that are currently on the desk. And then I don't know how many down here. There's another pile down here. We're not done yet. Just keep swimming. Well, I think I do have a good plan for how to like chain piece everything together. So that, we'll see. We'll see if it works for the first few at least. And then if it doesn't work, I don't know what to tell you. We've tried. That's the key. Well, I don't see it not working, so hopefully my brain's like, hey, you know what would be really good right now? A nap. Although it always feels like a nap would be a good idea. Okay, at 2, no matter where I'm at, I'm going to go get a coffee. And a snack. An apple with some Nutella. That sounds like a very good snack right now. In fact, one of my favorite snacks right now. That does change. 3. But I've got a big bag of apples from Costco, and so I should contribute to the consuming of the apples instead of just expecting the kids to eat them all. Although they do like apples, so that's good. That is very crooked. Yay. Not so crooked. Yay. Okay, good. Which edge are we? We're going to square up on this edge. All right. You can see that. And then we're going to chuck this over there. And then, so that's 3. Okay, so we end with the blue fans. Blue fans, blue fans, blue fans. Sloths on black. And then another lining. Like this. Okay, so that is like the smallest edge right there. So let's scoot it to that edge. There we go. Okay. Canvas. Oh, this is already cut in half. Sweet, we can use it for the template. Yay. Maybe. Cool, we'll just use this then to cut everything down, and then we'll leave it on top to wedge everything. Because everything needs to be wedged, and then we'll be good. Good enough. Sweet. Okay, then that's the last exterior for this round. Actually, it needs to be squared up anyway, so let's just do it. All right. Okay, so we're going to square up to here. Which means this does need to scoot this way. All right, there we go. There we go. Trim up. Again, this is all supposed to make my sewing more efficient. We'll find out if this amount of effort is worth it when we actually get to the sewing table. I don't know. It should be. Theoretically, it should be fine, or it should be good. That feels like it's actually supposed to be. No, it's just too tall. It's the right width, right? Yeah, it's the right width. Okay, interesting. Okay. Whatever. Done. Okay, so there's those outer edges done. If you hear me go silent, it's because I am terrified of cutting my own fingers. I have cut myself with my rotary cutter. It sucks. I do not highly, like 0 out of 10, minus 10 out of 10, do not recommend cutting yourself with a rotary cutter. Although honestly, one of the other worst ones is like ending up snipping yourself with your fabric shears, so you'll be cutting something towards your hand, and then you just like cut this little bit of web in between your thumb and forefinger. Also not fun. It's like paper clip or paper cut level, but with a pair of shears. So, if anyone tells you that there's no blood, sweat, and tears in these, there's not too much sweat, typically, unless I'm doing summer making. Tears once in a while. Mostly when it's like, why is again, cat problems. A little bit worse than cat problems sometimes, but mostly because of cat problems. But there's definitely blood. Which is why I mostly moved away from using pins for like a lot of this stuff, because I'm like, I just do not feel like poking myself that much. I'm already diabetic. I already have to like finger poke and prod and do a bunch of stuff with needles that I would prefer not to. So poking myself with sewing pins is not high on the agenda. I know it's not really high on anyone sewist's agenda, but it seems like every time I put pins in, it's like as soon as I do, one of them bites me. Prods. The little prickers. Yeah, I need that coffee. Alright, let's get these in and we'll get them evened up to the measurements as well. And then we'll get the exteriors wrapped up and ready to go too. Actually, I think let's split these up into a pile of 2 and a pile of 3 just to make it a little bit easier to slice through them, because the rotary cutter is like fighting me. I could probably change the blade actually, and that would help. So maybe when I go upstairs to actually get my, I just split that right in half. Well, that works too. It's 5 layers then. Anyway, when I go upstairs for my coffee and my snack, I should probably also swap the rotary blade. Would be good. Okay. Ramble, 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 ramble. And then let's ramble the other direction by getting this cut and ready to go. Alright, so there to here, plus that. Excuse me. Means that we need to line up on that line, right? There to there, plus that. Yes. Sweet. Okay. And then this one is really warbly up at the top, so we're going to also square it up. Oh, heck yes. Holy crap. Okay. It's like an extra ½ inch on some of these layers. Okay. That looks fairly even enough. I don't need it to be perfect, but it definitely needs to be better than it is right now, especially because it's like angled, and that just makes everything skewed. Okay, there we go. And then we'll do the wedging here in a moment afterwards. Get these all lined up at least on one end. Then we're going to go here. Line it up down here. Okay, so, and these ones are not as warbly, so I'm not going to worry about the upper, or like the other lines being squaring up. There we go. Those are the words. I knew I'd get there eventually. I'll just double check it on this side that like I wasn't obscuring it. No, we're good. All right.